Hello, XRP lover. Welcome to XRP Insider News. If these chart analysts are correct, XRP is about to change your life way faster than you probably think. I'm going to share perspectives from 13 different XRP chart analysts, and honestly, I'm having a tough time keeping up with all the predictions flying around. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning into this video. We're doing a massive 10,000 XRP giveaway. Just subscribe to the channel and drop a comment telling us what you'd do if you won XRP. Don't forget to comment. We'll pick our winner in 4 days. There's just so much buzz surrounding XRP right now because the market's absolutely on fire and things have been heating up. It's genuinely difficult to track all these different chart analysts in the way I'm trying to do it, but I'm doing my absolute best to stay on top of it all for you folks here. I think it's super important to get a wide range of opinions from reputable chart analysts. And here's what I keep finding, and I'm going to show you tons of brand new posts from all sorts of analysts. Literally every single XRP chart analyst talking about this, and I don't think there's a single exception, is saying XRP is positioned to absolutely take off. It's about to go on another major run. I know. Actually, we literally just had one. We just saw this amazing pump over a short period from around $2.80 all the way up to $3.65. That was incredible. That was fun. But here's the thing. It's not done yet. If these chart analysts are right, this is going to change everything. And the reason I say it'll change your life faster than you think is because this is the end of the cycle. If they're correct, this final burst, when it ultimately takes off, this will be it. And when I say final burst, I'm not talking about everything happening in one crazy day. This could play out over several weeks, for example. Actually, the blockchain backer mentioned the other day that it's possible the entire XRP rally, getting all the way up to the peak, could be wrapped up within the next 2 weeks. Now, he didn't predict that would definitely be the case. I don't want to put words in his mouth. He wasn't promising it would all be over in 2 weeks, just saying that, given where things stand, this is the time frame we're looking at. And this is the same perspective I keep getting from literally every chart analyst who's weighing in on this. What I've noticed is that when you have every single XRP chart analyst saying the same or very similar things, what the group collectively thinks is going to happen almost always does. Almost always. Just like in the days leading up to our most recent pump to $3.65. All of them were going absolutely crazy with predictions. There were high levels of activity from tons of XRP chart analysts, and that's actually pretty rare. That's not normally what happens. I'm telling you, there's genuinely something to this whole technical analysis thing. There really is. And if you get a broad range of opinions like this, you can start to spot these patterns. As of Sunday, July 20th, 2025, XRP is sitting at $3.45, and Bitcoin is at $117,224. Here's a post from Chart Analyst Detective, and he's been posting like absolutely crazy lately too. Sometimes he'll go really long stretches between posts, but not right now because things are seriously heating up. I'm telling you, everywhere I look, I'm seeing the exact same type of message, whether it's specifically from XRP chart analysts or just general chart analysts talking about the current state of crypto. It's go time, folks. It just is. So here's this post from Tech Dev with his massive 536,000 followers. He kept it simple but powerful. 4 years of altcoin compression is releasing. And you can see exactly what's happening in his chart. This is breaking out of that triangle pattern. This is the longest compression like this in the entire history of the crypto asset class for altcoins. It's breaking out, folks. Everywhere you look, it's so incredibly obvious that your life is about to change. I mean, if you've sufficiently invested in the crypto space, if you have that broad exposure and you've put in real money, this is actually the moment where you get to have a completely different life because of your financial situation moving forward. Like, that's genuinely where we're at right now. This isn't just speculation anymore. The charts are screaming it, the patterns are there, and the breakout is happening in real time. Here's a post from chart analyst Mikey Bull Crypto that's pretty huge. He's sharing data from on-chain analytics firm Glassnode, and they created the chart you're seeing on your screen right here. These guys do absolutely fantastic work. They're incredibly data-driven, and both Glassnode and Sonament are a couple of my absolute favorites when it comes to on-chain analytics. So Mikey Bull Crypto shared this, and he said, Glassnode alt season indicator just fired massive. There's a reason he wrote that in all caps. He's been doing that a lot lately, but that's not normally his style. It's because he's genuinely excited, just like I am. And you guys should be too, because this is the real deal. This is actually happening right now. Alt season, my friends. It's clearly heading in the right direction. When you've got solid, data-driven analytics firms like Glassnode lighting up their indicators like this, you know something big is brewing. This isn't just speculation or hopeful thinking. This is cold, hard on-chain data telling us what's coming. Here's a post from the blockchain backer from this morning. That's pretty encouraging. He says, We'll get the weekly close today, and it's been nice to see that the market was green all week. Here's what's really interesting. Despite Bitcoin having a red week this week, the entire market cap of the cryptocurrency market still increased. Fresh money entered the market and it went straight to altcoins. I absolutely love to see that. This is exactly the point in time where you'd hope and expect something like this to occur, and it's actually happening. He mentioned, "We get the close today," and I'm not a chart guy, so I could be wrong about this. Don't take it as gospel. But I believe the daily close for chart analysis happens at 7 p.m. Central Time. That's my time zone, so it varies depending on where you are. So that would be about 15 minutes from now if I'm correct. It's either that or it just happened 45 minutes ago at 6 p.m. I'm pretty sure it's 7 p.m. though. If that's the case, and we know XRP is sitting at $3.45 right now, and nothing drastic happens in the next 15 minutes, this will be the fourth day in a row that XRP closed above its all-time high from January. The fourth day in a row, and the weekly close, it's done. We're sitting pretty, folks. I mean, fingers crossed, I guess, but I really don't suspect it's likely that XRP is just going to randomly tank hard to the downside in the next 15 minutes. I mean, it's crypto, so never say never, but we're very nicely positioned here. This shows incredible strength from XRP. And then there's this. Check out this Bitcoin dominance chart. Look at this bad boy. Bitcoin dominance is down to 60.81%. Pretty wild, right? This chart only goes back about a month, but you can see that a month ago, Bitcoin dominance was sitting at 66.11%. It's dropped over 5% in just the last month, but most of that drop has actually happened within the last week or so. We're talking just a handful of days, not even that many. And it's been pretty steep. Look at that chart. It's literally falling off a cliff. And this is happening at exactly the time you'd hope and expect it to, based on historic patterns. It's absolutely happening right before our eyes. Here's why this matters so much. When Bitcoin dominance goes down, even if Bitcoin's price keeps trending upward, and I suspect it will, this is when altcoins completely take over. You get a full-blown alt season as a result. That's exactly what we've been waiting for, because that's where the real money is to be made at this point. Not in Bitcoin anymore. The real wealth-building opportunity is in altcoins right now. This dominance chart is basically giving us the green light that alt season is officially underway. Here's a post from chart analyst Rect Capital that's really telling. This is Ethereum's dominance chart, and check this out. I'm highlighting this because historically, when Ethereum takes off, that signals alt season is really getting going, and it's absolutely taking off. I know just a few months ago, everyone was saying Ethereum is dead, right? Well, it wasn't actually dead. Look at it now. It's rallying like absolute crazy. The price of Ethereum is sitting at $3,746 right now. Yeah, I'd say it's very much alive and well. So Rect Capital wrote, Ethereum dominance has increased to just under 12% for the first time in 5 years. In fact, the last time Ethereum dominance rallied beyond 11% was exactly 5 years ago, in July 2020. Ethereum dominance is now challenging to transition into the green circled phase. So we're talking upward movement, folks. Do you see how everything is just so perfectly aligning right now? I don't care if you don't hold ETH and aren't particularly excited about Ethereum itself. You need to look at the bigger picture here. This is fantastic news if you're an XRP holder. The fact that this is happening with Ethereum is a huge positive signal for the entire altcoin space. And look, history has a way of repeating itself with variations. This shouldn't be surprising to anybody who's been paying attention to these cycles. Here's a post from XRP community member Crypto Arsenal that's pretty exciting. It says, in unrelated news, XRP dominance is back, testing a range that hasn't been broken since fourth quarter of 2019. Look at this purple bar range. Check this out. XRP dominance is at 5.39% as of this afternoon, 12:37 p.m. Central Time. You know it's going to blast through that resistance, right? As far as I'm concerned, that's basically a virtual certainty. So we're looking at potentially doubling, maybe even tripling XRP's dominance. And you know what that means for price? That would mean the price from where it is right now could double or triple just from the dominance increase alone. But here's the thing, it could actually be way more than that because this is all based on the current total market cap. If the overall crypto market cap doubles, then XRP's price would be even higher than just a double or triple. We could be looking at something like 6 times higher from where we are now. I honestly don't know where this thing's going to peak. That's not a prediction, just to be clear. But XRP has been so artificially suppressed for so long, and now we finally have a level playing field. The fundamentals for XRP have never been stronger than they are right now. It's playing catch-up, plain and simple. I'm so incredibly excited to see how this cycle wraps up. I cannot wait to find out what happens here. In a general sense, there are certain things I feel like I know are going to happen. Not literally guaranteed, but I'm trying to express that I have really high conviction about this. Part of that is this face-melting price discovery we're witnessing. This could be absolutely life-changing for myself and so many of you listening. I really do believe that's what's ahead for us. I understand nothing's guaranteed in life, but I genuinely believe there's a very high probability this is happening. This is exactly the time where it would make sense for it all to unfold. And there are so many analysts predicting this is going to be a way more impressive altcoin rally than what we saw last cycle in 2021 for tons of different reasons. The setup is just incredible right now. Here's a post from Credible Crypto from this afternoon. He said, "Guys, remember when Ethereum was dead? I do. And I absolutely remember that too. I talked about that quite a bit while it was being declared dead, especially back in April. It bottomed out around $1,400, I think, and I kept insisting that price alone is not an indicator of whether a coin is actually dead or not. Sometimes markets just undervalue assets. And when that happens, people who don't really understand how markets work, they just look at it and go, well, the price is low, so that means it's dead. Like that's literally how their brains operate. Price low equals dead. Okay, sure. And then on the flip side, when you've got the market going on an absolute rampage because everyone's caught up in euphoria, suddenly it's price high, ka good now. Like, okay, calm down there. Simmer down, champ. That's exactly how their simple little brains work, and it's honestly ridiculous. No, the price by itself is not an indicator of anything meaningful. Sometimes markets get completely overheated and bubbles inflate everywhere. XRP has been in bubble territory before, and honestly, that's where you have the most opportunity. Because you can unload during bubble territory after holding for years and years. That's exactly what I'm here for. That's the whole point. Incredible Crypto totally gets this perspective too. He shared a post of his from September 13th of last year. Now keep in mind, XRP was being called a dead coin at this exact time. And I kept insisting, no, it's not dead at all. It was just priced very low against Bitcoin, for example. It had been trending down against Bitcoin for years and years, but these are exactly the moments where XRP finally finds a bottom and then completely flips the script. And I was absolutely right about that because, well, there's clear historic precedent for exactly this pattern. Credible Crypto understood this too. So here he's talking about Ethereum and Solana, and he said, dead coins is a bit of a misnomer in the way it's used in this space. People think anything that hasn't pumped yet and is sitting at multi-month lows is dead. And that's exactly the point. People have such a short-term mindset. They see something consolidating or sitting at lower prices and immediately jump to, it's dead, without understanding that this is often exactly when the best opportunities present themselves. The market has a way of humbling those people pretty quickly when these dead coins suddenly explode higher. People thought Solana was dead at $3. By the way, it's currently sitting at $181. Remember when Solana was dead? Remember when that was supposedly finished? I remember that too. And he says, if a coin has strong fundamentals, utility, solid tokenomics, and is growing, then it's not dead just because it hasn't pumped yet. It's an opportunity. Exactly. That's the exact same thing I was screaming throughout all of 2024. Our strongest fundamentals ever. And then it did pump, obviously, because markets eventually adjust when something's seriously undervalued. And since then, all we've seen is XRP's fundamentals improve, but not just improve, exponentially improve. Increased utility, way more adoption, publicly traded companies using XRP as a treasury reserve asset, using XRP in their actual payment flows, all sorts of incredible developments, plus more and more tokenization of assets happening on the XRP ledger. T-bills, money market funds, these are real tangible things happening right now. But somehow we were supposed to believe that just because XRP's price was low, it was dead, even with all this massive progress happening behind the scenes? Get out of here with that nonsense. What a bunch of complete morons. The fundamentals were... Here's another post from Credible Crypto showing an XRP/BTC chart, and you can see that trendline XRP was having trouble breaking above. On this XRP/BTC chart, it tried 5 times and failed to break through. And like I noted before, like every single time it tapped that line, it got weaker because more and more people were selling at those levels. So eventually it gets weaker and weaker, and then you can finally blow through it. And on the 6th attempt, boom, we did it. Look at that. Remember when we were way down here? I was sharing that version of the chart before we had all this new data, because this breakout literally just happened this month. We were stuck down there, and I was like, guys, at some point it's going to break through and we're going to get back up here. Well, it just happened. It's not rocket science. It was just obvious pattern recognition. He had that meme with the Gandalf guy right there saying, "You shall not pass," from Lord of the Rings, or as I like to call it, Dork Quest. So he's been calling it the Gandalf line and stuff like that. He wrote, Gandalf smashed about 15% to the range highs now. Not sure if we will chop around a bit here or just rip through. Either way, XRP looking solid overall. Do you see that? That's totally in line with what I keep seeing from analysts. Now, some are very optimistic that we're actually going to rip higher from here, but probably the more reasonable approach is what he's saying. He acknowledges it's possible that literally today, tomorrow, any moment, we could just start ripping to the upside. But even if we don't, okay, fine. So we chop around sideways for a little bit longer. You're still going to rip to the upside eventually. So we win either way. It's just a question of whether we have to wait a tiny bit longer or if we get it right now. Ask different analysts, you'll get different answers on timing, but they all believe the same fundamental thing. It's going to happen, even if they don't completely agree on the most probable time frame. Here's a post from chart analyst Shibo. I'm not familiar with him, but he seems pretty popular with 89,300 followers on X. Yesterday, this guy wrote, XRP will smash $5 in the next 7 days. This is your final warning. Now, I've said many times that there's no analyst who can consistently predict exact timing for markets, but I can definitely appreciate the conviction because we really are at that point right now. I've been seeing similar comments from tons of chart analysts that I've been sharing here on the channel. It's not that they know for sure it's going to happen within a specific time frame, but they do recognize that XRP is so perfectly positioned that it would be totally reasonable to speculate it could happen soon. At minimum, I'd say that's a fair assessment. Crypto Insight reposted that and said, probs TBH, meaning probably to be honest. So he's agreeing with that prediction. He's not making promises or guarantees, but he's saying, yeah, probably within the next 7 days, you're going to see XRP smash through $5. This is exactly why I said at the beginning of this video that XRP will change your life faster than you think. If these chart analysts are correct anyway, then somebody named XRP Scotland, his name's Will, wrote back, Will, that's mega bullish. Just need to stay above $3.40 and then bulls will take over. And Crypto Insight UK responded, I think we have a big push coming. Let me just reiterate something important here. Every single analyst that's talking about XRP that I follow is saying exactly this or some variant of it. And that's not normal. They're usually not all on the same page like this. But when they are all on the same page, they're right almost 100% of the time. Like the vast majority of the time when there's this kind of consensus, it plays out exactly as they're predicting. Here we have a post from Don Alt, very popular analyst with 675,000 followers. This guy absolutely hates XRP, but when it comes to charting, he does seem to be intellectually honest about what he's seeing. He hates XRP, which obviously just means he's wrong about the fundamentals. And honestly, I question some of his analytical skills because of that bias. But when it comes to pure chart reading, he seems to do a reasonably decent job. And even he thinks XRP could be breaking out. He posted this chart this morning, so he's also thinking this could be the moment where it's time to start going up again. Just like we did a few days ago, it might be time for XRP to start doing that all over again. I keep seeing this same message everywhere. It's really jumping out at me that pretty much every analyst, even the ones who don't like XRP, are saying some variant of the same thing. And when you see that kind of consensus across the board, it almost always means something significant is about to happen. When even the XRP haters are admitting the charts look bullish, you know something big is brewing. Here's a post from chart analyst Jelly, and by the way, he's a fantastic analyst, but he doesn't normally talk about XRP at all. The fact that XRP has caught the attention of everyone, even analysts who don't usually cover it, is pretty telling. He said, XRP chilling above previous all-time highs like this tells me it won't be trading below $4 for much longer. Looks ready for another run as early as tomorrow. Again, do you see the theme here? It's the same messaging over and over and over again. I absolutely love seeing this kind of consensus. When analysts who don't even typically follow XRP are taking notice and making bullish calls like this, that's when you know something special is happening. Here's chart analyst Zoom saying, 4 XRP will be here soon. Do you see this, folks? I know it probably sounds like a broken record at this point, but these are all different analysts saying basically the same thing. This is not normal. This is absolutely not what usually happens in the space. That's exactly why this is so exciting. I know what it means when analysts agree this much across the board. I really don't think we're going to have to wait much longer at all. I think you're just going to wake up one day, could be tomorrow, who knows? And XRP is just going to be ripping again. That's how these breakouts usually happen, when you have this kind of unanimous sentiment from the technical analysis community. The convergence of opinions we're seeing right now is honestly pretty rare. And historically, when this happens, the market tends to move exactly in the direction they're all pointing. Here's a post from 24 Hours Crypto saying, XRP is going to $4 within the next 36 hours. Okay, I've already said my piece about chart analysts making time predictions. None of them can accurately predict exact timing. But that being said, since we're in this moment right now, it's reasonable to speculate that it could happen anytime. Just take it for what it's worth, though. Anytime I see these super specific time predictions, I tend to roll my eyes a bit. Even if they're really good chart analysts, I'm just like, come on. But there are ways it can be different. If they're saying something based on historic precedent, like if roughly the same thing unfolds as before, well, I have no problem with that approach. I don't roll my eyes at that because they're saying, hey, here's what happened in the past, and if it happens again like that, here's what the timeline would look like. That's fine because that's not even really a prediction. That's just pattern recognition. But when you make a blatant, very bold price prediction with exact timing like this, I'm like, come on, man. He also says, if you're still waiting for $2, you're completely brain dead. That opportunity is gone. It's over. $4, $5, $6, $7 onwards. So he thinks we're going to be hitting all those levels pretty soon. He posted that this morning at 9:50 a.m. Central Time, by the way. So from that point, within the next 36 hours, according to him. And look, he could absolutely be right because we really are at that moment where XRP could just start ripping again at any time. Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Wizard looking at the XRPUSD chart. He says, delivered again. I called for a God candle and the heavens delivered as called. XRP has printed a ginormous candle. And boy, oh boy, he's definitely enjoying the ride, up 73.31% from his original call. He's sharing one of his posts from July 13th to show he called this move ahead of time. Credit where credit's due. He says, another wonderful, wonderful call. Please prepare for $4.50. Folks, there's another analyst saying it's about to hit $4.50. And we're talking short term here. This doesn't mean XRP is peaking at that level, though. None of these analysts are making that argument. They're talking about the short-term move to get the party back in motion, and then it's expected to keep proceeding higher from there. So $4.50 is just the next stop on this rocket ship, not the final destination. Here's a post from chart analyst CW saying, XRP hasn't resistance. If whales just push the price up, the rise will be rapid. I've actually seen that same take from several different chart analysts, that there's really not much resistance above us right now, at least not immediately. So given that's the case, if we just get some more buying demand here, because we did hit some buyer exhaustion recently, we could just start ripping to the upside since there aren't a lot of people trying to sell at various price points in between. If the order books are thin like that, then yeah, you can just melt upward rapidly. That's exactly the point he's making. He's basically saying there's no notable resistance where we currently are. It's really more about seller exhaustion than any major walls above us. I've been seeing this same observation from several analysts lately. When you combine thin resistance with some fresh buying pressure, that's the recipe for those explosive moves we've been talking about. The path of least resistance is definitely pointing upward right now. Same level as it was in November last week. Could you please check the MACD figures? And of course, MACD, in case you're wondering, is the freshest hip-hop artist on the scene today. He's citing resistances at $3.61, $5.85, and $9.76, then jumping all the way up to the 18 to 22 to 23 range. For support levels, he's showing $3.33 and $3. So according to him, once we get through $3.61, and some analysts are saying it's more like $3.50. They can fight amongst themselves if they want to, but it's about that range. The next notable resistance after that is $5.85. Melt upward, my friends. That's a pretty decent gap between resistance levels, which means if we break through that first one, we could see some serious price acceleration to the next level. Here's a post from chart analyst The Great Matsby looking at the XRP/USD chart. And you can see he's highlighting Bollinger Bands here. You can see those blue lines. There's the lower boundary, the upper boundary, and you can see how they tighten up. As they tighten, that indicates they're about to have an explosive move. Now, Bollinger Bands don't tell you whether the move will be up or down, but in a bull market, I'd argue that when it finally breaks, it's going to be to the upside. That's what happened last cycle, and the cycle before that in 2017. And it happened in 2024 when the Bollinger Bands got the tightest they'd been in history. He said, XRP is experiencing a re-expansion of the monthly Bollinger Bands, similar to 2017. During that period of continued expansion, XRP surged by an additional 1,300%. Can history repeat? Oh, maybe, just maybe. 1,300%. Now that's what I call face-melting territory right there. If we're seeing a similar setup to 2017, with these Bollinger Bands re-expanding, and history has a tendency to rhyme with itself, well, let's just say things could get very interesting very quickly. He also shared this follow-up post on the XRP/USD chart, where he says, just to clarify, a 1,300% increase would align perfectly with the green level of my Gann analysis, targeting approximately $45. What do all the XRP haters have to say about that potential? Okay, look, I will not say it's impossible for XRP to hit $45 this cycle. I really won't. But I do not think that's even remotely probable if I'm being completely honest with you. That's just my honest opinion, but I could absolutely be wrong about this. I don't have an ego about these predictions. If I'm wrong, I'll just say, well, I guess my hunch was off. No big deal. It won't be hard for me to admit that because I'm not married to any particular idea. I'm just being totally honest with you here. I know we'd all love to see 45 XRP this cycle. Trust me, I'd be thrilled. But I sincerely doubt that will happen. I really, really doubt it. But even me, being the conservative type when it comes to price expectations, even I will admit it's not literally impossible. Crypto has surprised us before with moves that seemed absolutely insane at the time, so who knows? Maybe I'm completely underestimating what's possible in this market environment. Here's another post from the great Matsby where he says, I overlaid the fractal from April 2017 onto the price action starting from October 2024. And so far, it's aligning perfectly. If this pattern continues to hold, the price could reach a top of approximately $20, not $45. Let's see what happens. So it depends on which analysis you're looking at. I don't know which one he has more conviction in, whether he thinks the GAN analysis pointing to $45 makes more sense, or this fractal analysis showing $20. But honestly, $20 doesn't sound remotely crazy to me. If that happens, frankly, if XRP hits $20, I don't know if it will happen, but it absolutely would not surprise me, not even a little bit. $20 feels way more reasonable and achievable than $45, at least in my mind. When you overlay those historical patterns and see how things are aligning, $20 starts to look pretty darn realistic. That's still life-changing money for most people holding XRP, and it's a target that feels grounded in actual technical analysis rather than a pure hopium. The great Matsby says, people don't realize that XRP had an 800% monthly candle following that continued Bollinger Band expansion. Then chart analyst XRPunky responded, this is also why I've been saying a 26 to 33 XRP is possible this cycle. Anything more than this is bonus. I think that's a pretty fair take right there. $26 to $33. Man, that would be absolutely life-changing for so many people. That would be buck wild. And again, I don't know if it'll happen, but it's not crazy. I'll definitely tell you when I think something's completely nuts, but this, when you look at the historical patterns and what XRP has done before with those 800% monthly candles, $26 to $33 doesn't sound insane at all. That's still in the realm of possibility when you consider the fundamentals, the adoption that's happening, and the technical setups we're seeing. Would be absolutely incredible if it plays out like that. If somebody starts calling for 100 XRP this cycle, I'm like, yeah, you've lost your damn mind. You're out of your damn mind. I'm not saying it can't happen at some point way in the future, but this cycle? Hell no. Not a snowball's chance in hell, my friend. Here's a post from chart analyst Mikey Bull Crypto on the XRP/USD chart. He says, XRP moved to a cycle peak has started 2017 playbook aligning. So he's highlighting what so many analysts have been pointing out, and I've talked about this on the channel too. We're looking at this pattern. First major pump, half year of consolidation, then the second major pump. You can see the second major pump for XRP has officially begun. So that's almost certainly what we're witnessing right now. It's the real deal here. Same exact thing happened in 2017. That's what he's highlighting. First pump, consolidate sideways for half a year, then the second pump. And it's not like you get that entire pump in one day, you know? For instance, the second pump in 2017, I know it went on for about 2.5 weeks. The first part maybe went on a bit longer. I don't remember the exact time frame. But look, it's just a genuinely exciting time to be an XRP holder. There's never been a better time to hold XRP. This is just cool stuff happening right in front of our eyes. By the way, that 7 p.m. is when the charts close, then yeah, we just got our 4th day in a row with XRP above the previous all-time high. Look at that. Suck it, toxic Bitcoin maximalists. Oh, it's so good to be an XRP holder right now. It is absolutely incredible to be an XRP holder. You gotta love this, folks. Oh, man. So anyway, I'll check back in with you guys again soon. There's just, it's too much for me to keep up with. I try my best here to stay on top of everything that's being shared, but with all the excitement right now, it's just this incredible deluge of information. It just won't stop. It's like a veritable torrent of information pouring out constantly. And it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining at all. I'm just saying it's a lot, and it's genuinely hard to keep up with everything. But I will absolutely continue to keep you informed about what these reputable chart analysts in the XRP community have to say. And it is looking so good right now. I'm telling you, this is not normally how things are, but we're also not normally at the very end of a bull market. And we actually are right now, which is fantastic because this is where the most fun, crazy, life-changing price action happens. I'm just absolutely thrilled to be here, and I hope you guys are too. Seriously, this is a big deal. We're really there. We've made it to the moment we've all been waiting for. Thanks so much for watching this video, everyone. Don't forget about our massive 10,000 XRP giveaway. Just subscribe to the channel and drop a comment telling us what you'd do if you won XRP. Make sure you comment. We'll announce the winner in 4 days.